Hi class, not sure what happened on the audio with this one, but I think I'll just narrate over what Jerry's doing and you'll get the idea. So we're gonna make some vegan patties, and so what Jerry's done here is he's just added some oil to the pan. He's letting it heat up. We're going to cook some items in the pan first before we sort of add them to the food processor. And so he's just adding in some garlic that he chopped up, and he had some olive oil in the pan. He's going to add in some onions that he is going to sort of saute here, and then he's going to add in some sliced mushrooms. I think he used cremini mushrooms, but you could use white and button mushrooms. I'd probably just use one of the more less expensive mushrooms, to be quite honest. You don't necessarily need to get into something like a chanterelle or a morel or a hedgehog or anything of that nature. And notice how his pan handle is turned in, so it's safe, and he's got the knife pointed away from himself. And what he's showing you here is the dal. So we cooked some dal for about 3 to 5 minutes. It's basically sort of an orange lentil, and what he's talking about here is we didn't cook it all the way through until it's mush. We left some integrity with it, so it'll help give our patty something to some texture. And he has put that in the food processor, and he is going to add in the mushrooms and the garlic and the onions that he's sweating. He's going to add in some soy sauce, and definitely follow along in your recipe manual. He's going to add in some miso paste as well. He's using the white miso paste, which is just one of the varieties of miso paste out there. And then going back and making sure that he flips his mushrooms. And then he's going to add in some flax seeds, and he's also going to add in some nut butter. So we used a variety of nut butters in this. I think we used some cashew and I think some almond, but you could use whatever nut butter you like. And yeah, it's just you could make it yourself. There's recipes for nut butters that we actually have in the manual, but or you could do a commercially purchased nut butter as well. So he's going to add the flax seeds in here. That's what he's adding in there right now. And he's talking about how the flax seeds add fiber as well, sort of a mucilaginous fiber. That's me giving Jerry a lid. And you notice how it is kind of thick in the food processor, and that's okay. I mean, we've got a lot of thick ingredients in there, but so he's going in and sort of helping to redistribute the contents, so we get a relatively smooth mixture. I mean, bear in mind we're going to keep mixing this up with the mushroom mixture, but we want to sort of get it to a point where it's like quasi smooth, and that enables us to mix the mushroom mixture more easily when we add it in. So again, because this is a vegan recipe, you don't necessarily have to worry about adding this hot mixture into, say, the colder lentil mixture. because we're not really worried about eggs or any other sort of animal source protein in this. So once he's done sautéing this, you can, or he's going to add it directly into the food processor, and then he's going to mix it up. One of the things he's talking about here is how he likes to cook his mushrooms on high heat. He thinks that the high heat, and I agree, that the high heat sort of helps retain some of the moisture in the mushrooms. I mean, remember, mushrooms are like sponges, and they have quite a bit of moisture in them. So it's this nice balance of getting enough moisture out, but keeping enough moisture in the mushroom when you cook it. Again, you can see here he's adding the mixture. It's hot, so watch out. You definitely want to, not burn yourself here. And he's making sure to get all the bits that he cooked. And then he's going to start to mix it up. So again, if you notice, we've got this sort of smoother mixture on the bottom and this sort of kind of chunkier mushroom mixture on top. And so this is going to take a minute or two to sort of give it a few pulses and then open it up and then sort of work it around a little bit with the spatula and then go back again and pulse it a few more times. You could pulse it. He's sort of got it on a regular speed, but again, notice how he's scraping down the sides very nicely and pushing the contents back down towards the blade, and then turning it on to sort of get a smooth mixture. He's pretty much done here. He's not going to let it go for too much longer. He's just making sure that the mixture is smoothly mixed and evenly mixed, and then he's going to transfer it into a bowl that he is going to also add some shredded sweet potato. Now this is another great way, like in our other classes, where we talked about using vegetables in fun and inventive ways. And so having a grated sweet potato in this patty is a great way to get more vegetables into your diet. It's going to provide some crunch, it's going to provide some texture, and it's also going to give sort of our mushroom mixture something to sort of hold on to and bind to, because we're not adding any other egg or anything. One thing he added in earlier, which I forgot to mention, was he added in some breadcrumb. And so I think it was a panko breadcrumb that he added in. I don't think it was a whole wheat panko breadcrumb, but if you had a whole wheat panko breadcrumb, definitely by all means add that in. And he is, again, like we talked about in the previous recipes, sort of the safety around the blade. He held the blade in place while he scraped a little bit of the mixture out, and then he removed the blade and was able to get the remaining portion of the mixture into the bowl that again has the sweet potato in there. So he's just mixing it, making sure it gets to a uniform consistency, something where he can sort of make it into patties. For us here, these were a little loose in the end when we cooked them, and so they were like, we ended up dropping them. They ended up being spooned on. But we'll show you the finished product when they're done, and they turn out like patties.
Hi again, everyone. Well, we're just wrapping up. So we have all of our dishes here. Careful, the stove's hot. We're starting off with our roasted eggplant dip with walnuts and coriander. Some people might call that baba ganoush. It isn't exactly the same, but it's pretty close. So we have our roasted eggplant dip. We have our peanut lime chutney, which is excellent, served in spinach leaves. We have our black-eyed pea casserole, which was our microwave dish. Then we have our pasti fagioli, And so that's a delicious way to serve food bank foods. We have some refried beans. This is the way that I do them, and it shows that they can be made into a big pancake that's cooked with a nice crust and then served on a plate. We have our chickpeas and greens all mixed together and served in a casserole. We have our urad dal, which is just dal cooked and flavored with mushrooms, with asafoetida, with some onion, garlic, and pepper. And then we have our patties, and that's our lentil vegan patties. So a wide variety of dishes. The one dish we didn't prepare today was any nut butters, and that's just because Joel and I didn't feel that it was educational to show us putting nuts in a food processor and running it until they were butter. So I'd encourage you, you can certainly try to make nut or seed butter at home. I love to buy pumpkin seeds and use my food processor to grind them into pumpkin seed butter. It usually takes an added tablespoon or so of oil, but the nuts are almost always cheaper than nut butters. So I like to make nuts and puree them myself in my food processor to make nut butters. So nut butter, eggplant dip, peanut lime chutney, some excuse me, black-eyed pea stew, some pasta e fagioli, refried beans, chickpeas with greens, some urad dal, and some lentil vegan patties.